Good evening. Again. Good evening. Tracy again from the Center for Social Impact, if you forgot. I hope everyone is enjoying their dinner. Yeah, thank you, yeah. Wow, what a day. Has everyone had an amazing day? I've had an amazing day. Yeah, truly amazing day. Today has been really spectacular. We listened, we learned, we asked questions. I hope we were inspired, and the celebration is not even over yet. Before we get to the rest of our program, I want to take a few minutes to reflect on this milestone, on 10 years of the Dartmouth Center for Social Impact. The Dartmouth Center for Social Impact has enjoyed a lot of success in the last decade. As I mentioned this morning, we've educated thousands of students on how to be effective and ethical change makers. We have supported the work of hundreds of community partners here in the Upper Valley and around the globe. We've partnered with faculty to enable community-engaged learning and teaching. We have collaborated with campus partners to holistically support the aspirations of our students. We've run programs and workshops, asked hard questions and listened to hard truths. We made mentor matches. Where's Steph? Steph's made mentor matches. Trained students, debriefed and reflected, and managed more transportation issues than seems possible given the fact that we only have 6 cars. That's what happens when you give undergraduates keys all the time. But with all that DCSI has achieved, what I am most proud of is what has been so evident today: the relationships, partnerships, and friendships that we have fostered. So I'm going to digress a little bit. Bear with me. I live in a household with 2 theater kids, musical theater kids. I have one of them with me here tonight. Yeah, he's a rock star. Yeah. He's going to be really embarrassed that you all did that. We listen to the soundtracks of a lot of musicals, and if you are or were a theater kid or live with one, you understand what I mean when I say a lot of musical soundtracks. Yeah. In my theater kid household, we've been preparing for the release of the second part of the Wicked movie. And I know this is a little controversial because people have really strong feelings about the stage version versus the film version, but let's be friends tonight and put that aside. So earlier this week, we were listening to the original Broadway cast recording of the song For Good. Who knows that song? Yeah, lots of folks know that song. If you love this musical like we do, you have chills just thinking about Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth's voices belting out this iconic duet. The chorus of this song is, and Isaac, I'm not going to sing, I promise, because I knew you, I have been changed for good. So throughout the musical, we see this theme of being changed for good, used in its double meaning. It refers to the positive impact that relationships can have on us, but also the depth of that impact. Connections we build can change us for good. They help us grow, learn, they challenge us, help us become more empathetic. They help us become better human beings. And they can change us for good, referring to the lasting nature of that change. Now I'm going to move on from my exegesis of Wicked lyrics and get us back to the Dartmouth Center for Social Impact, I promise. So as I noted, one of the aspects of our work which I am most proud is how DCSI facilitates relationships. I was actually just talking about this at my table. We bring faculty together with community partners. We bring alumni to campus to engage with students and our campus colleagues. We bring our own staff together with members of our local community. And apparently every decade we have a big party and bring everyone together. Yeah. The Dartmouth Center for Social Impact is really good at bringing people together for transformative, reciprocal, and educational relationships. And I believe throughout all this relationship building, we really have been changed for good. I know I have. We have learned from each other and with each other. We've explored challenges through diverse lenses. We've expanded our ability to understand each other and to lift each other up. I hope that relationship building has continued today, and I think it's pretty clear that it has. I hope this summit is more than just a celebration of the past decade, but is the beginning of the next chapter, of the next 10 years, where we can continue in our work together to create a thriving and just world. If I have learned anything today, it is that we can do that, one relationship at a time. Because I knew you, I have been changed for good. So now it's my job to acknowledge all of the many hands that have made today the event that it has been. First, I want to thank the folks here at the Hanover Inn, though I think they've all left. We'll have to give them a really loud round of applause. From initial room reservations to food service, all of the things today, their labor has been really essential in this event. I want to thank our Alumni Board of Advisors. If you were a DCSI Board of Advisor, please raise your hand. Lots of folks out there, yeah. And I want to particularly thank the subcommittee that has been working on this event for over a year in making sure that it comes to fruition. And I want to thank the many speakers and panelists who have generously shared their wisdom with us today. Thank you. And I think maybe most importantly, I want to thank the team at the Center for Social Impact. If you're a staff member at DCSI, can you stand up? Yeah. This is an amazing, talented, just rock star group of people who push me to be a better person every day and give all of their professional selves to our students all the time. I especially want to thank Cass North, Cy Waters, Madeline LaPenta, and our event planner, Karen Hershey. Yes. They have made sure that every detail has been planned and accounted for. And I finally want to thank my colleague and partner in all things DCSI, this event, and every day, sometimes all the weekends, Henry Do Rosario. Yeah. I am so excited now to pass the microphone over, because this actually means it's almost the end of the day for me, right? No, so excited. I'm pleased to introduce Jane Novak, class of 1992. Jane is a Dartmouth trustee and the liaison to the DCSI Board of Advisors. So, Jane, thank you.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Dartmouth's Social Impact Summit. Wasn't today outstanding? Let's do another clap. I hope you all had an amazing day, learning and connecting, meeting new people, and rekindling old friendships. It's days such as this that remind me of the very special place that Dartmouth is, and how fortunate we are to be able to come together and celebrate the long history of community engagement at Dartmouth, and specifically the decade of transformative education at the Dartmouth Center for Social Impact. Dartmouth's mission is to educate the most promising students and prepare them for a lifetime of learning and responsible leadership. This is an enormous task. Equipping our graduates with the knowledge, skills, experiences, and aptitudes to effectively and responsibly lead in our increasingly complex and divided local and global communities. As we mark this occasion, this 10-year anniversary of the Dartmouth Center for Social Impact, it's inspiring to witness how the work this center has done has advanced Dartmouth's institutional mission and deepened the legacy of Dartmouth's meaningful impact around the globe. DCSI's community-engaged initiatives connect the liberal arts to the real world and provide meaningful pathways for students to apply their education in pursuit of a better community. An example of this important work includes the social impact practicums, where DCSI brings real-world challenges into the classroom through partnerships with faculty and community agencies. In this initiative, Dartmouth students apply knowledge from their courses, making a real impact in our local community, while also building important skills, such as learning to work with diverse stakeholders and navigating complexity. In social impact practicums, the liberal arts come alive. Students and faculty experience the magic of seeing their passions and research make real change with local communities and partners. The Dartmouth Center for Social Impact also enables students to go out into the world and practice those skills of effective and ethical leadership, while working alongside experts and pioneers across the social sector. Through internships, partnerships with local schools and agencies, and immersion travel, students embedded in community and grow in their understanding of how place and context influence challenges and solutions. And as is clearly on display today, this weekend, the Center for Social Impact builds community. Community among our students, our alumni, our campus, and community partners. Through initiatives such as alumni mentoring and opportunities to partner with communities locally and globally, DCSI forges bonds and builds relationships across the broader Dartmouth community. It serves to foster innovation and collaboration, share wisdom and expertise, and build bonds that will sustain our Dartmouth leaders as they leave our campus and venture out to make their own impact. This is indeed a special moment for the Dartmouth Center for Social Impact and for Dartmouth College. Thank you for being part of this institution's legacy of responsible leadership and social impact. Congratulations to all in this room who have been part of DCSI's important journey. I look forward to what the next 10 years will bring. Yes, let's clap to that. Now I'd like to invite Jen Maris, Chair of the DCSI Board of Advisors, to join me in a special recognition for a program that predates the Dartmouth Center for Social Impact and is also celebrating a milestone this year. That's the Dartmouth Partners in Community Service. Jen.
Good evening, distinguished guests, faculty, staff, students, and friends of Dartmouth. My name is Jen Maris, class of '89, and the chair of DCSI's Board of Advisors. Amidst this celebration for the center's 10th anniversary, it is my great honor to stand before you tonight to recognize the remarkable legacy that has deeply impacted our students along with countless communities across the country and shaped the very notion of what it means to be a Dartmouth alum. 30 years ago, at the 35th reunion for the class of 1959, a group of classmates decided to develop a class project that would, in their words, inspire Dartmouth students to join with Dartmouth alumni in addressing problems facing our society. This noble and visionary goal, which seems so relevant even now, led the 59s to the founding of the Dartmouth Partners in Community Service program, or DPCS, and the pursuit of 3 aspirational goals. First, to raise funds from the alumni community to support current students interning at nonprofit or other social sector organizations across the United States, reducing financial barriers that hamper students interested in service and impact work, and enabling their pursuit of a transformative experience. Number 2, to connect every DPCS intern with an alumni mentor, thank you, Steph, who would provide guidance and support to these young changemakers while fostering intergenerational connections that would strengthen the Dartmouth community. And 3, in facilitating these incredible opportunities for students, DPCS sought to embody Dartmouth's broader commitment to the betterment of society, matching the energy and talent of young leaders with the powerful work that social impact organizations do to drive social and economic progress in underserved communities. Over the past 3 decades since the class of '59 created DPCS, the program has funded over 1,000 individuals to participate in these internships. I think that deserves a round of applause. This represents an immeasurable impact on the lives and careers of these students, and so far as we know, is the largest number of internships funded by any similar program on campus. Hundreds of alumni from dozens of classes support DPS financially and by serving as mentors for these interns. In doing so, they forge connections between the alumni community and our campus. These connections live on well after the students return from their internships. And I think we heard one of those stories today at over lunch and in the careers panel where Paul shared his journey to the Tenderloin in San Francisco, which started as a DCPS internship. This also translates into thousands of hours of social impact work spanning issue areas and geography, from rural health clinics in Atlanta and Alaska to youth development programs in New York City and the Tenderloin. Additionally, DPCS was the foundation of another Dartmouth mentorship program, which is near and dear to my heart, Bridges to Impact. I co-chaired this program in New York City for the past 8 years. Bridges matches Dartmouth graduates entering social sector fields with alumni mentors. It's an amazing alumni community, and its inspiration was DPCS. As an alumna and the board of DCSI and the board member of DCSI, which houses DPCS, I'm honored and awed by what the 59s have accomplished through this program, and the ripples of the program are amazing. Chris, can you please stand? I know everyone here tonight is watching at home, and those watching at home on live stream probably shares this sentiment. It's with great pride on behalf of our Dartmouth community that I recognize the class of 1959 for their great achievement and celebrate DPCS's 30th anniversary by presenting this letter of appreciation from the college to Chris Cundy. One of the He is one of the key founders of the program, and he represents his class here tonight. So thank you, Chris, and thank you also to all the classes that have taken on the stewarding of DPCS, including 44, 58, 63, 67, 79, 83, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, my class, 90, 92, and 95. And a special thank you for the 79s for assuming the mantle of leading this historic program. So thank you again, Chris, and everyone who has made DPCS what it is today. I now have the honor of introducing our keynote speaker, Maya Wiley. Maya Wiley is the president and CEO of the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights and the Leadership Conference Education Fund. A nationally respected civil rights attorney, Maya has been a litigator and program creator and policy advocate in philanthropy, nonprofits, government, and higher education. Prior to taking the helm of the Leadership Conference, Ms. Wiley ran for mayor of New York City in 2021, garnering the second highest number of first-choice votes in a ranked choice vote election. In 2014, she became the first black woman to be counseled to a New York City mayor, Bill de Blasio, where she worked to protect and expand civil rights, minority and women-owned business contracts, and broadband access. Wiley became a senior vice president for social justice at the New School University, where she also founded the Digital Equity Laboratory. While there, she chaired the New York City Civilian Complaint Review Board, CCRB. As chair, she led the release of the hold on proceedings against Daniel Pantaleo, whose illegal chokehold killed Eric Garner, and also co-chaired the Mayor's School Diversity Advisory Group that authored 2 major reports on integrating New York City public schools. Wiley has been a litigator at the ACLU, NAACP Legal Defense Fund, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. She helped create a criminal justice program for a major foundation in South Africa. Wiley co-founded and led a national policy advocacy organization, the Center for Social Inclusion, now a part of Race Forward, a national policy strategy organization working to end structural racism. Wiley has received numerous awards and has been a public voice for rights, justice, and democracy through written opinion editorials and as a former legal analyst for NBC News and MSNBC. And Wiley is the author of the memoir, Remember, You Are a Wiley, which I hope you all had a chance to get earlier today. Please join me in warmly welcoming Maya. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Well, I'm exceptionally embarrassed by that introduction. Because as I tell everyone, if you read that introduction, it just sounds like I can't hold down a job. But thank you, and thank you all for being here. Thank you to the staff. Thank you to the students. Thank you to all of you who are here, because you are here because you are committed to transformation for the common good. And I admit to one other thing, besides my embarrassment, which is this is not a speech. It's some scribbles. I won't bore you with the scribbles, but one thing that I have learned, especially in talking to a group of people who are already actively engaged, deeply knowledgeable, and understand exactly what is at stake in this country. You don't need me to give you a speech. But I'm standing here because I was told to. So, and I thought long and hard as I moved through the day here about what would be valuable to say. And I did get some instruction, so let me give you a few examples. I'm paraphrasing. This is not the way the documents came to me. But from the center, I heard, say a little bit about yourself and your Dartmouth experience, but don't say too much. Say a little bit about, like, okay, we know the world is bad right now, but but give us hope. And connect to what we've been doing for the past 10 years. And I thought, okay, that's really hard. But having been here for a day, it's also not hard. And let me say why. The common good. In your materials, you actually got the center's first publication. Is that fair, Henry? Emma is the first. And in it is a reproduction of an interview with David Brooks. And in it, David Brooks talks about the need for caring, and that the failure of the Ivy League, and I agree with much that he has said, and I disagree with some of what he's said, but I'll get there. But that the failure of the Ivy League and an ascension of Ivy League admissions is the creation of elitism. He doesn't say it quite that way, but that's really what he's talking about, right? And the sense of so many people who fall outside of the parameters of that elitism that are those of us who have benefited from an exceptional education that is far too expensive and far too hard to get for far too many people, which is absolutely true. But one of the things he talks about is the importance of education coming and bringing a sense of morality. We heard Tracy say relationship. That experiential learning is about how do we find the ability to empathize and to caring about people whose experiences are different from our own. And that is something that should not be either only accessible in the ivory tower of the Ivy League, nor is it something that we are seeing sufficiently in our society today. So I thought maybe the point was to talk about what is the cost of caring and what cost are we willing to pay for it? What is the cost of caring and what costs are we willing to pay? Why would I make that the central question? And I want to tell you a couple of stories you may know, you may not. One is a librarian in Livingston Parish, Louisiana, named Amanda Brown. Now, Amanda was a middle school librarian and someone who had taught for many years. And she heard that there was going to be a book banning discussion at the Public Library Committee of her parish, otherwise known as a county to others of us, about books. And she decided she was going to show up and speak out against banning books. So she did. For her, it was about caring about the central importance of these precious books and the ability of anybody to have access to them. And as we know, what we have seen banned are everything from Pulitzer Prize-winning novels by Black authors, or about Latinos in baseball. Okay, I'm not making that up. Or about being gay or transgender and the personal, emotional experience of finding identity. Or many, many, many other novels that are very confusing to even understand why they're even on a list. Many of the books on these lists were books that my own two children were given to read by their teachers in elementary school, in public elementary school in Brooklyn, New York. So I knew these books. I had read them with them. They were books about connecting to the experiences of others in order to find empathy and caring. She went, she spoke out, and she paid a price for her caring, which included death threats, doxing, and all forms of defamation. She decided to bring a lawsuit, a defamation claim. She asked for $1 and an apology. It wasn't about money. She was willing to care, has paid the cost, and is continuing to speak out. The other story I'll tell you is one I've been directly connected to at the Leadership Conference on Civil and Human Rights, which, if you don't know, is the nation's oldest and largest civil rights coalition. I will proudly say we look like America, and we are the majority of this country with over 250 national organizations. And I will tell you, we don't agree on everything. But one of the stories that came to us were two civil rights lawyers at HUD, Housing and Urban Development. And they came to us because they were going to blow a whistle. And the whistle they did blow was a whistle that said, hey, we're career public servants. We came to do a job. The job was to assess the facts. And if those facts found that people who were threatened with domestic violence and were survivors of intimate partner abuse could not be discriminated against in getting housing, that people could not be discriminated against in using a voucher based on race, based on many income status, many, many, many factors. And what they were seeing was political appointees telling them that although they found a community in Texas that had organized with neo-Nazis in an effort to keep Black people out of the community, and they found evidence to substantiate the need for charges, they were prevented from sending those over to the Department of Justice, which was the entity that would bring that case. That was just one example. They had receipts. They had statistics, they had numbers about appointees who had decided that there would be no enforcement of civil rights laws, even though they were politically neutral decisions. And that the people who are at the other end of life-threatening situations, or just the need for a basic opportunity to have a roof over their head and a key they could call their own to open a door with their name on it, would not be protected by the US government. And they made a choice, Paul Osabere and Palmer Heenan and others, that they would come forward, write a letter, and tell the story. And when they did it, these career public servants knew full well they would probably pay the cost of their careers. And they have. They have lost their jobs for doing the job. So what cost is caring today? And what cost are we willing to pay? This is not a partisan question. This is not about agreement, nor is it about ideology. It's a simple question, and probably the hardest I have ever heard asked in my 61 years on this planet. But I also got charged with hope. So now that I've depressed you, here it comes, y'all. Because I will say this, hope is a passion for what is possible. My philosophers, and you know I'm quoting Soren Kierkegaard. I did not make this up. But Soren Kierkegaard is the one who defined it, I thought, properly. Hope is not of inevitability. Hope is not a promise. It is a possibility. It is the possibility of the future that we all can find ourselves in, find each other in, have relationship, be in disagreement, and still get what we need. And still be who we need to be, whatever that is. That's hope. And the reason I say these stories is I celebrate these stories of Amanda, of Paul, of Palmer. People from different parts of the country in very different roles who are saying, I will pay the price of the ticket. That's James Baldwin. The price of the ticket. I will care. I will care enough to say that I will pay the cost because I have hope. Because I'm willing to believe that my act that is based on morality, that is based on law, that is based on what's right, that is based on caring, that is based on my experience as a human being in this country about what it means to invest in its future, then I'll pay with my job. I'll lose my paycheck. I'll risk the threats and the attacks and the abuse. And they have been encircled. They have not stood alone, even though they have had to stand and face injustice. And that gives me hope. We all have different roles to play. I'm not suggesting that any of us are the Amandas or the Pauls or the Palmers. Sometimes our job is to encircle them, to lift up their stories, to be willing to stand with them and ask what they need. Sometimes it is thinking about when we just show up in our communities and say what we think and be willing to have a conversation with someone who disagrees with us. We are willing to care. I'm going to tell you a story about my experience at Dartmouth. When I was a student here, and I was miserable, I'm not going to lie to you. It was a racist place. I am not going to tell you a lie right now. Todd, Crystal, they were here with me in the Afro-Am, talking about, whoa, y'all. They were having fun, though. We had a good time. We're not allowed to talk about that fun right now, but we had a good time. I don't mean there wasn't joy. I don't mean there wasn't community. I don't mean there wasn't support, but there was racism, too. And I was the community employment service liaison for the Afro-Am. So anybody who wanted to recruit black students at Dartmouth was supposed to come to me so I could set up and help get the word out to students about where they could go to the recruitment event. And the US Marine Corps showed up. And with it came this man named Captain Wiley. And Captain Wiley was straight out of central casting for the US Marine Corps. Let me just say that. He was from Tennessee. He looked like he was from Tennessee. He talked like he was from Tennessee. And he was in uniform. And I met with him, and I sat down, and I looked at him, and I said, tell me why I should tell any black student to talk to you about going to the Marine Corps. And yes, I said it just like that. I was rude as a young person. I still am sometimes. But I meant it. I was like, I'm feeling it here at Dartmouth. I don't even know what's going to happen to folks in the Marine Corps, and I don't know who you are or what you're going to do to my friends if I tell them that they should go to the U.S. Marines. And he looked at me, and he didn't make a face. He didn't skip a beat. He didn't change anything about himself. And he looked at me and he said, I want to tell you a story about my life. And his story was this. He grew up in a rural town in Tennessee. And in that town, he joined the Ku Klux Klan. And I'm going, this story's not going well. I'm feeling fairly reinforced in my rudeness. Thank God we're in a public place. But again, he hadn't changed. He was kind, he was smart, he was interesting. And he kept rolling. He said, and you know, that's all I knew. And I joined the Marine Corps because I didn't have any other opportunities. That was my opportunity. So I joined the Marine Corps, and then they sent me to Zaire. Okay, y'all, Congo now. We'll keep up for those youngins. Some of us are like, yeah, we know Zaire. Back then it was still Zaire. Now it's the Central Republic of the Congo. And he said, I went to Zaire, and all of a sudden, first of all, I was plopped in a group in training with a whole bunch of people who did not look like me and did not come from my town in Tennessee, and it was different. And then I get dropped in what is now the Congo, and he said, but everything I was experiencing with these people I was at boot camp with and with these people I were meeting in Central Africa was nothing like anything I was told by the people in my town. He met his wife and married her. I met her. I liked her. But my point is, he looked at me after telling me this story, and he started getting tearful. And he said, the Marine Corps saved me. It saved me. And I want everyone to have that. And I thought, when's your recruitment seminar? What room is it in? And where? And for me, it was my experiential learning. That my stereotypes, that my preconceived notions, that my walls that I had put up to protect myself from racism also meant that I was not caring. That I was unwilling to pay the cost of caring unless I was willing to accept the gift that Captain Wiley had offered me. And I did. And we stayed in touch for a number of years, actually. But he was also, and has been, and to this day is my hope. My passion for the possibility in a country right now spewing with hate, spewing with violence, spewing with an attack on the very fabric that my own ancestors sacrificed so much to give me opportunities and assumptions that they could never have. And isn't that what caring is? It's the ability to recognize that the cost does not come from the caring. The cost comes from not caring. The cost doesn't come from the price of the ticket. It comes from refusing to take the ride. I am so grateful that Dartmouth challenged me to take that ride. And with all the pain I experienced here, and there was pain, that ultimately I didn't pay a price. I was given gifts. And that's the other life lesson of experiential learning and of programs like the Center offers and creates. It's the confrontation that we are forced to make with our own assumptions and to cross terrain of deeply held fear. Sometimes that we hold legitimately, actually oftentimes. And it's the journey. Now, I will also leave you with this. So here's the thing. So there's a minister who has a little parable that I'm going to share, and that parable is got a group of people coming together because Jesus and Satan have amassed them, and Jesus is on one side of a fence. Satan is on the other. And Jesus and Satan are having their conversations with folk, trying to woo them over to their sides of the fence. And people make their choices. They choose their side of the fence. They start to walk off, one group with Jesus, and the other group with Satan. It was a smaller group, y'all. It was a smaller group. And one man sits on the fence. He just sees nobody's looking, he saddles back, and he hops right on that fence. And then as the crowds have dissipated, they've walked off, but then Satan comes back looking around like he's lost something. And the man says, well, Satan, did you lose something? And he went, oh, no, there you are. Come with me. And the man says, wait. No, I didn't choose you. I sat on the fence. And he said, oh, well, I own the fence. Yeah, there's no fence, y'all. You're choosing a side when you're sitting out. I won't say choose Jesus because that would be insensitive to those who do not have my religious tradition. But I will say this. Refusing to sit on the fence comes in many forms. I don't know what form it takes for each of you. I don't always know what form it takes for me. But be willing to recognize that you will get the gift of giving when you jump off that fence and you realize where you have the opportunity to care. And that instead of paying the price, you will be gifted. And the gifts will be much greater than any cost. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya. Another round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. And again, thank you all for being here this evening and throughout today. This morning, when I welcomed you all to this event, I gave you 3 assignments. I want to see how we did. This is an assessment. Not really. The first assignment was to try something new, to learn something new. So how many folks learned something today? Yeah, that's great. The second assignment was to meet someone new, to introduce yourself or sit next to someone. How many folks built a new relationship or connection today? Amazing. My third assignment was to consider how you're going to take those relationships and that learning and leave this place and make your impact in the world, make those possibilities come to fruition. And I'm going to leave you with that as we leave this place, and you can continue to consider how you're going to take what you've learned today from all of the wisdom in this room and make our world the place we need it to be. So thank you again for being here. This is the culmination of our program, but you should feel free to have some coffee and eat some what look like really amazing chocolate cake and continue in your conversation. Thank you again.